Welcome to the Urban Pitch Podcast, The Beautiful Game of Life. Today we have Briana Aguila. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes.
Okay, with Soccer Problems. For those of you that may not know, Soccer Problems is a social media account, right? And I've seen it on Instagram, on Twitter. Can you give us a little bit of background of what Soccer Problems is?
It started basically as a Twitter account just to vent.
Okay.
It was totally anonymous the first year that it was around, and it was just a way for players to relate to my expressions of what I thought was not necessarily wrong with the game, but just problems that we face day to day.
Okay. And can you give me like some tips? Because like Soccer Problems on Twitter, and that's how you said you started. How many followers does it have?
Somewhere over 150,000.
Yeah, I have like under like a couple hundred. So like, how do you go from like you said it was completely anonymous like the first year, right, or whatever? Was it really a year? And how did it go from that to like 150,000?
So it was really a year. I started it my junior year of high school, midway during soccer season. So it was like late December.
That's so upsetting that it's the fact that you started in high school and it has 150,000 and our professional account is in the hundreds. But okay, go ahead and continue.
And it was just a total accident. My teammates on my high school team, we honestly just were not the best team, and I would complain about it on Twitter, and they said you need to cut it.
Let's throw some names out. So you were complaining about your high school teammates at the time?
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, not my teammates, just the team and how bad we were in general. But we were never really known to be good.
Right.
So with that, I looked for a Twitter account that I could relate to. Didn't really find one at the time. There wasn't really one except maybe Soccer Girl Probs, but I just couldn't necessarily relate to them.
Okay. Why is that?
So
like to give a little bit of background, right? Soccer Girl Problems, right? Soccer Girl Probs, right? Like they're pretty well known as an account, right? And the name's kind of similar. So then is it kind of, what's the difference in between that and your account? Because like when I go on to Soccer Girl Problems, a lot of majority of their posts are about like problems that female soccer players could relate to, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's different from, guy soccer players, right? So then, but yours isn't like that, your account?
Two things about that. One, I've always been told I've had more of a guy's mentality when it came to the game.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't really a fan of watching women's soccer professionally up until maybe like 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
So I always had a different perspective on my problems per se. I mean, my problems didn't really relate to like, my wet sports bra and coach, making us run this or that.
Right.
And two, I just feel like high school players don't necessarily relate to the same problems that collegiate players experience. So they were in college at the time when they started, and I was a junior in high school. So I just wasn't really able to relate. I thought they were funny tweets, but I'm like, it's just something to laugh at rather than something to relate to. That was the only difference. I've loved them since the get-go. They started, I think, a few months before me. So, I mean, it's kind of been a journey together.
Is there a little bit of competition there between you guys at all?
Not at all.
No?
I mean,
Have you ever met those girls?
I've seen them in person, but didn't have the chance to meet them. I saw them last year at the NSCAA convention, but I was working with Cal South at the time, so I didn't have a chance to go and like talk to them.
Last year, not the recent one?
No, not the recent one, out in Baltimore.
But you recognize them?
Yeah, and I just couldn't break away from my work at the moment to go say hi. They did reach out recently, so hopefully we get to click up one day. I know that Dave from Beast Mode would be like, into all of us just getting together, but I don't feel like any competition. I feel like women should empower each other.
Right.
So everything that they do, it's awesome.
Right. I've actually met them. The thing is like, I've seen them at an event. It was an Adidas like Mercury Center event, like a 3-day thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who they were. So I didn't know why they were there. They were filming, and I'm like, okay, so they're just kind of like random girls. I guess maybe they're college players and they're good. And then subsequently afterwards, when the like the social media posts and all that were starting to be released, I would realize that those girls were Soccer Girl Problems. Yeah. If I had known that earlier, I probably would have introduced myself and like said hi and all that. But I was just like, okay, there's like 2-3 like soccer players and cool. Yeah. Okay. So then it started off as you kind of venting, you said, right?
Yeah. So I just went off. I just gave my opinion, and I wanted to keep the account anonymous because I didn't want my teammates to get mad.
Okay. So they didn't know that you didn't necessarily blast or affiliate your high school team or anything like that. It was just like anonymous issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, as the months went along and people wanted to know who ran the account, I always played it off with my friends. I gave the idea as They knew I was from Southern California. They knew
Okay.
I was from the area, but
Okay.
I always kind of put the league on blast rather than any particular team.
So when you say league, what are you talking about?
The real league.
Okay,
So-
which is their high school league that you played in? Okay, so they knew it was like they could narrow it down to like 8 teams or whatever, right?
It was 6.
Six, okay.
6
So within
teams.
6 teams, there's some girl that's like...
Well, they honestly thought I was a guy.
Oh.
Everyone was so surprised when I finally said like,
I
"Hi,
see. Because
I have
you
soccer
weren't
problems."
necessarily blasting out like the girl team
No.
issues. You were just saying in general.
Like
okay.
I said, like the guy mentality came in,
Yeah.
and so almost everyone, even like now, people are like, "Soccer problems is a girl," and I'm like, dude,
Right.
I've been a girl for
all
ever,
your life,
and
yeah.
like
Right.
for the last 3 years, I've made it publicly known that
Okay.
soccer problems is run by a girl.
Okay, and then how did it? At what point did it start to like ramp up and get really popular? And how do you think that happened?
I want to say it was just really gradual. I
Okay.
mean, it was always just like a good increase, nice little increments. But how, your guess is as good as mine.
Okay,
My
so
only
you can't-
explanation is that it was relatable and
Right.
that people just really liked it.
Okay.
And that's really all I could say about it, because I didn't understand social media when I was doing it. I mean, it was something just to go on and, those Facebook events that they show you that you did from like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. Like,
I look at my social media back
Yeah.
then and I'm like, yeah, I had no idea what I was doing, but somehow soccer problems came out of it.
So then, at what point did you start to think that there was something there with the account?
Honestly, it's tough to say, because even now I'm just like, it's just my Twitter account. It's just this thing that I had that I vent to, that I forget that it's a thing that can take me places
Yeah.
and can really do things for people. I forget the impact that it has,
Okay.
because it was just always this innocent thing
Right.
that just came out of an accident that just
Okay.
ended up being really...
Okay, let me ask you this then, because you have a decent size following on Twitter and on Instagram now, right? And are you able to utilize it in a professional setting? Are you monetizing it at all? Like, what's the kind of the business mechanism that's happening behind?
I did monetize it for a bit
Okay.
surrounding the World Cup, the Men's World Cup,
Okay.
and a little bit during the Women's. But for the most part, it's been, hey,
Just organic and just kind of more of a fun thing.
yeah, it's
Okay, so how did you monetize it during the World Cup then?
I had companies reach out to me. I had a business partner at the time.
Okay.
He's the one that actually works with LA Galaxy.
Okay.
And we just worked together and just made deals, and it worked out for both of
see.
us, because struggling college students,
Yeah,
we could
yeah.
use the money.
Okay, so then companies and teams and brands or whatever reached out to you guys and said, hey, we'll offer you like a certain amount of money for like a tweet or something like that, or how did it work?
Yeah, so they would do packages of tweets or post on Instagram. I think once we had to make a video, it's really simple. They usually had their content ready, just
Yeah.
kind of sent it over, and they wanted just the audience.
Okay.
Other than that, it was either companies or soccer stores reaching out. Like, I've worked with soccer.com before, and then locally with like Azteca and Nikki's.
Okay.
And they all just work together, and it's like, hey, you know what, let's run this giveaway together.
Yeah.
Or here, you've been retweeting for us, let's just send you some stuff. Soccer.com has been really generous in the past.
Are you still doing it? Because you said you monetized it for a little bit. Is it something that you want to continue to do? Was it a good experience and you want to now like grow that aspect, or was it something that was just temporarily and now you're kind of going back to just for fun?
It's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously making
Money's
money.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
money's fun. But
Okay.
it's just, that's never been what it's about. So people are just like, why aren't you making this and this and this off of it? And I'm like, it's not that I don't want to, because obviously
Yeah.
everyone wants to make money however they can.
Sure.
It's just, it was never the focus. So I don't see it like that. For
Okay.
me, it's hard to stick to the mentality like, hey, do something so that you can find a way to make
Right.
a living off of this. I, recently picked up the name social media influencer, and to me, it's just, I forget that this influences people, that people will, respect my opinion, and that it's just something I can work with moving forward, that
Right.
it's valued.
Okay.
So it's tough. I mean, of course, I'd love
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
This thing is...
So do people like hit you up all the time to be like, hey, can you like, tweet us out, or can you do a post on Instagram? That
I've
happens a
had
lot?
some friends,
Okay.
soccer friends
Right.
who wanted help with, this or that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, come on, it's not what the account's about. Unless it was something I truly believed in,
Yeah.
I didn't post about it.
I see.
So
what if they slip you like a 50 or a 20 or
my friends aren't going to slip me a 50 or a 20. Not
Okay.
because they can, but because they just don't see that it works like that. And
Okay.
either way, if I don't believe in something, I don't
Yeah.
want to promote it.
Okay.
At the end of the day. So we did, have to evaluate the people we were working with when we monetized around the World Cup and Women's World Cup.
Yeah.
And we chose who we wanted to work with. And then I only think we said no to one person just because it wasn't really reflective of what we thought the account was about.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm just a firm believer in I'm not going to put my name on something I don't believe in. So that's why Soccer Problems has been maybe so, I guess, a safe zone for me, and why I don't really play with the whole money thing, because I don't want to take it places where I don't want it to go.
Okay. So is it just you now?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
And then you said you don't want to take it where, in that area, but you do have plans to kind of continue to grow it and maybe create like a business model behind it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to. It'd be the ideal situation. I've recently just got into YouTube.
Okay.
So see where that takes me, see what I can do with it. I'd love to do like reviews on cleats and stuff, because I have friends who ask me about stuff like that anyway. Hey, what's coming out in the soccer world? What's new? What's popping? And if that's the case, if my opinion's valued, why not try to do YouTube, see how that goes. I just want to, I guess, spread knowledge about the sport.
Okay.
That's my biggest thing. I don't, even though it's growing in the U.S., I think soccer can still grow more and more.
Okay. So is this like a full-time thing for you? Are you a student? Like, what's, give us a little bit of who Briana is then.
So I do go to school.
Okay.
I am currently between Rio Hondo and Pasadena City College.
Okay.
And I work for Washington Youth Soccer. I've been there for about a year now. Actually, it'll be a year next month. I was with Cal South for 3 years, so I have always had a part-time job. And Soccer Problems has always kind of just been second since I left high school, because it just never brought in steady money. And so maybe when I find a way to bring in steady money, I'll lose the part-time. But until then, it's always going to have to come second, because bills come first.
Right. So you're juggling school with part-time job, and then Soccer Problems is like a third of that equation.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it definitely plays its part, because you have to make time for the events. You have to make time to look for content, look for what's going on in the soccer world. I mean, I do it naturally, but it does eventually reflect in Soccer Problems. So that's how it goes.
And you grew up here locally in the Southern California area? Like what part of LA?
So it's technically La Puente, but it's a really weird mixture. I'm basically off the 60 and the 605, which is like City of Industry. It's a really, I guess,
Urban?
secluded little area.
Okay, City of Industry, right?
It's weird.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean,
that's like the strip club capital of the world, no? Like, that's what I've heard. I don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I tell my friends, I live off of Valley, right by the strip club.
All the guys know that? They're like, oh, you say that? Right next to, and they already know what strip club are you talking about?
They know exactly where I'm talking about when I say that, and it's hysterical.
Your guy friends?
Oh, yeah, just the guy friends.
Oh, okay.
Weird how that worked out, right?
Right. Well, the female friends, like, they happen to work there. They're like, oh, I'm going there later at 7 o'clock tonight.
Not that they've told me.
Okay. All right. And so then you've always, like, you grew up in a soccer family. Like, how did you really get involved in soccer?
So my soccer background, my dad was a huge soccer fan. They put us in AYSO all throughout our childhood, eventually moving on to club soccer, high school soccer. It was just how we were bred. I mean, we did play softball. I knocked my tooth out. I played basketball, wasn't really good. So soccer just stuck. It was just always our sport. All three of us played. We had, in our youth, we had 9 games between the three of us in one weekend, and I don't know how my parents did it, but we did it. So it was just how we grew up. I mean, that's all I know, honestly. I can watch other sports. I love football, baseball, but it's just not soccer.
So it's like a family tradition thing. That's how you really got into it, and so you love the game now, right?
I love it.
Yeah, and you're
it's
wearing
live.
the jersey right now, right? So is this the U.S. women's jersey?
It is. It's the new one. It's the red.
Okay, go ahead and show it off for the camera. Right?
It's popping. It's cool. I like it. It has the 3 stars.
Yep, to represent, right? So, like, it's interesting because you said, like, before, even just like a few years ago, you weren't, a few years ago, you're 22 now.
Yeah.
So when you were in high school, when you started Soccer Problems, you said you weren't into women's soccer really at the time, right?
I wasn't.
But you're wearing a women's jersey now, so has it changed since then?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, how so?
I don't think it was marketed correctly to begin with.
It was not, huh?
Not at all.
What do you mean?
I mean, we had 2 World Cups prior, but they weren't really around when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I grew up with Mia Hamm, and she was at the end of her career when I really started paying attention to women.
Yeah. So was it when they won, and then they won in the PK and she ripped off the jersey, the famous scene? Is that when you were you watching at that time or no?
I was too young.
Okay, so you weren't watching that.
I was too young, and plus I think that my parents had a part in why I didn't like women's soccer, because I never really saw it.
Okay.
It wasn't really exposed to me. I really wasn't aware of collegiate soccer to begin with, and that
Your
was
dad's
already
not
in
turning
high school.
into women's college soccer. You're
My
saying,
dad
right?
was stuck on Mexican league soccer.
Okay.
I didn't transition to the European side until maybe 2010.
Okay.
Maybe we were on the 2010 World Cup.
Okay, and that's like a personal thing then, because in your family, you're saying you mostly watch the Mexican league then?
Well, growing up, yeah.
Okay.
I was bred a Chivas fan.
Okay.
And the ironic thing is that my last name is Aguila, so anyone who watches the Mexican league understands that.
Okay.
So I think just growing up, not being exposed to women's soccer, and then finally watching it and seeing how slow it was compared to men's soccer, but we've picked it up.
Okay.
The women have picked it up greatly, and it's just never going to stop.
So you've been kind of steadily watching a little bit, and then you're saying that the game has gotten more exciting, and so they slowly won you over as a fan?
I'm definitely a fan now.
Okay. Do you follow NWSL at all then?
I do.
Okay, you do.
I love it. I watch the YouTube streams when I can. I'm so excited that they're on Lifetime this year, and I'll probably still watch all the YouTube live streams.
Okay.
I'm a huge supporter of it. I wish there was an LA team. I hope that someone here is thinking of bringing an LA-based team, because I will be there every game.
Okay.
I'm an LA girl.
Yeah.
So
okay.
come on.
All right, then. Speaking of LA teams, the whole topic, controversial, not controversial, but you're gonna have to pick sides now, right? Because there's LAFC that's here, and they're going to start playing next year, right? LA Galaxy, obviously, MLS's most successful team with 5, MLS Cups, huge presence in LA. Have you, picked a side yet, or are you kind of just, where does Briana Aguila stand on that? LAFC versus LA Galaxy.
So I am currently in my second year of being an LA Galaxy season ticket holder.
Wow. Okay. Really, you're a season ticket holder for LA Galaxy. Awesome. Okay.
But in all honesty,
there's a but.
So up until maybe 2 weeks ago, I was like, heck yeah, LA Galaxy.
2 weeks ago, that's it? Okay.
Really though, that's just how crazy it's been.
Diehard LA Galaxy fan. 2 years,
Well, I wasn't too diehard.
Yeah. But a season ticket holder is at least, pretty legit in terms of being a fan, right? And supporting the team.
Yeah, I think it was more just because I love being at the soccer games, and I was like, you have to support the MLS, you have to support the soccer environment. Right. It's not going to grow if you don't help it out.
I fully agree with that, yeah. Okay.
So I think that played a larger part in me being a season ticket holder, especially because I found myself there most of the season anyway.
Yeah.
But
2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, I just started looking into LAFC a little more. I saw their presence at the Red Bull event that happened this past weekend, and slowly but surely, I think I'm going to transition.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, it doesn't take much to win you over. 2 weeks? It was only 2 weeks.
It's it was weird. So I watched Atlanta come into the league this year.
Okay, yeah.
And I watched them. Huh? It was awesome. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. And they have this culture that I resonate with a lot, and I'm not going to go for Atlanta because they're not necessarily next door.
Sure.
And there's a resonation that I have with them that I don't have with the Galaxy. I've always felt this sort of void with the Galaxy, this connection that just wasn't there. And I feel like a lot of my loyalty to the Galaxy has been because they're the LA team rather than
LA. Okay. All right. So then let me ask you this: when Chivas USA was around, right, and your dad was a big fan of watching Mexican leagues, and obviously there's Chivas Guadalajara. Were you guys as a fan, or as a family, a fan of Chivas USA, or you yourself?
We were in the beginning.
Okay.
But I think it was more just because of the brand rather than the team.
Okay.
We watched maybe the first 2 seasons they were here, and then kind of just ended up distancing ourselves from the MLS in general because of us playing soccer.
Okay.
We kind of didn't have time for anything else but playing, so we didn't really pay attention anymore.
Okay.
And I think the only times we would ever really go to watch Chivas USA was when other teams were playing. So we came to watch the teams they were playing against rather than themselves.
So it was kind of a combination. It sounds like of the fact that you guys were busy, and also they didn't really grab your attention.
They didn't.
Okay.
They didn't.
Why didn't they grab your attention? Because they just the absence of success on the field.
I don't think I was into MLS at the time.
Okay.
I didn't really like the style of play. I thought it was very boring, very slow.
Okay.
I didn't appreciate the league for what it was.
Okay.
And I really didn't transition back into MLS until maybe 3 years ago.
Okay.
I kind of just said, hey, you know what? It's the league I have. And I looked and I liked it. I gave it some attention back when Freddie Montero was here with the Sounders. Loved watching him play for the Sounders. Almost became a Sounders fan because of it. But stuck to my LA roots. So with that, a lot of the lack of culture that I can resonate with and just have that, I don't know, connection. I see it in LAFC.
Okay.
I feel it. They're block by block, street by street, one by one.
Oh man,
campaign.
It sounds like you're a part of the marketing team. You're like talking about it resonated with you, their videos?
It really did.
Wow.
You know, that one campaign that they're doing right now,
Yeah.
it just sits with me so well, and I love it. I love the LA culture, and I love that they have that LA feel to them, whereas the Galaxy just...
Sure. So you're talking about like the video that they released, right? And have you watched it where they announced the crest and colors, and then they say that block by block,
I think
street by street?
so.
Okay.
I've seen a few of their videos, but I follow them on all their media stuff, so I see it pretty often.
Okay.
And it's just, like I said, it's stuck.
Right.
And as much as I do love the Galaxy, because I do have love for the Galaxy. I have like 2 jerseys.
Yeah.
I'm a season ticket holder, so I've had some sort of like deeper connection. I'm gonna probably end up being an LAFC fan.
I see. Wow. Okay. Shout out to LAFC
for converting
Patrick and Rich out there in LAFC, and Marcus. Some of our friends over at LAFC. All right. Okay. So you mentioned the Neymar Juniors 5 tournament, right? And you were there, right? Like a week ago, right? Yeah. I remember seeing you. You were there. Were you there on your own and just kind of representing soccer problems, or what were you doing?
I was a little there at Soccer Problems. I was there because I had friends playing in the tournament. I was there because I'm a soccer fan, a little bit of everything. I just wanted to go out, see the tournament. I went last year. I thought it was great last year, and I knew it was going to be bigger and better this year, which it was.
Okay.
Red Bull did a great job with the tournament. And I knew that the reigning champions, TC Broders, were going to be at the tournament, so I wanted to see them in person because I didn't get the chance to in LA.
Yeah. Did they impress you?
I wasn't as impressed as I thought I was going to be, but I think it was just the, situation that they were in. It was one of those things where, you have to punch your ticket to Miami. So they didn't press as much as I thought they were going to. They didn't, and I didn't see the footwork I wanted to see, but from most teams in general, not just them.
Yeah.
It wasn't as skillful as I wanted it to be, and maybe it had to do with like the playing surface. It's hard.
Playing surface, the ball.
Yeah,
the 99-cents ball that people have mentioned. They need to like. We love Red Bull. We've worked with Red Bull, so if Red Bull's watching, we don't want to we're not bashing, but it's just more like constructive criticism, right?
Yeah.
They need to improve the ball,
you
right?
need to invest in your tournament.
Yeah, because like it starts with the ball, right? Because that's the game, right? So that's like almost one of the most central important pieces, right? And that ball is just no good, right?
It was tearing apart. I saw the stitches coming out in some instances, but
and then also it's like on the playing surface and it's small-sided, and usually when you're playing small-sided like that, you use a different type of ball. You use a size 4 ball, maybe a futsal ball, so it stays, you know what I mean? And allows you to do the street soccer skills that not only Red Bull wants to probably showcase, but people are there to see as well, like yourself, right? Like I've seen TC Broders play, and I think definitely if the situations were a little bit different, then we could have seen a little bit more skill.
Yeah, the elements definitely played a huge part. I like the surface they played on. I personally would have rather preferred to play in cleats, and I know they weren't allowed to play in cleats, and I know that's why a lot of them slipped or wouldn't really make those runs or go in because they didn't have the traction they wanted. So maybe if there's a way that they can fix that. I don't know if soccer, it was US, I don't know the name of the facility that it was at.
US 5,
US 5, if they can maybe adjust something, like something over, or if they can, Red Bull can adjust the rules so that you can play in cleats on certain surfaces like that one. Because I know last year you're not going to play in cleats on a flat top.
Okay.
But I think that played a huge part in, I guess, the comfortability for the players. It's tough to go into it thinking you're going to play on a certain atmosphere, in a certain atmosphere, and then get something totally different than what you were expecting.
I can agree, because for me, I was playing on the media team, and for me, like 95% of my skills was not able to be unleashed based on some of those things that you're talking about. So I don't know if you noticed, but
Like personally, like my friends were playing, and my friends are very skillful. They're not.
What team?
Dale.
Okay.
And they're very skillful with the ball, but they were slipping everywhere. And I mean, I'm not saying that they would have won the whole thing had they played on a different surface, but I would have seen a lot more skill from them, and I feel like any other team would have provided more skill for the tournament and made it cooler than maybe what it could have been. Okay. But you learn, you move on. Next year, you make it better. You take these, I guess, lessons and you implement them, and you.
Okay, are you a fan of like street soccer and the small-sided game?
I'm a fan of every type of soccer. Okay. I think anywhere and anyhow that you play the game, even if you're just juggling, it's beautiful. It's something to do. It's better than being on your phone and being all over social media. As much as I love social media, I'd rather be outside playing with a soccer ball.
So then when you're at events like that, do people recognize you? Do they come up to you?
Sometimes. Usually it's friends that I've made through Soccer Problems already. Some people just kind of look and they're like, hey, I think that's Soccer Problems.
And then what happens when you do that?
I'm kind of
you
just
do the hair
like,
toss and you're like, yeah, that's me? Or what do you do?
not really. I'm not much of a hair flip person.
Okay.
If they say it loud enough, I'll look at them and be like, it's soccer problems, guys.
Right.
I know. But if they're too like distant or they just don't look welcoming, I'm not going to make them feel uncomfortable, because you never want to make someone.
So you're not like a shy person when it comes to those type of situations?
I'm not a shy person at all.
You're not a shy person at all?
I'm not.
Okay.
I can be a little timid at first. You have to get a little comfortable, but once it goes, it goes.
Okay.
And I guess soccer problems has definitely brought out that person in me. I think I was a lot more reserved. And when I told the world, hey, I'm soccer problems, I kind of had to let go of that little shell that I had and be able to adjust to people saying, hey, that's soccer problems. Because I've had people take pictures of me or with me. The of me kind of scared me, but with me is okay.
Right. Like one of those indiscreet ones that they do it from the hip or something like that.
And, that creeped me out,
Sorry,
honestly.
I apologize for that. I didn't mean to do that last weekend. Neymar Jr.'s 5.
No, there's one particular instance that just, I don't know why that instance freaked me out, but it did. I went to a UC Irvine match maybe 2 years ago during the collegiate season. And I had someone tweet me, hey, I saw soccer problems, but it's my backside walking out of the facility. And I'm like, why?
Trust me, you get used to it. That happens to me all the time. You get used to it after a while.
I don't know. I'd rather just someone come up to me and be like, hey, like your soccer problems, and I'd rather have a conversation about it rather than like a tweet of like my backside.
Sure. Was it zeroed in on a certain area?
No,
or just,
no.
It's not that bad then. It's not as bad.
All you see is hair.
Trust me,
it's fine.
So it could have been much worse then, right?
Definitely.
Okay.
So
what about like some any exciting things? Like what's been like the most exciting thing with either soccer problems or just when you know what I mean? Like have you been able to interview any like famous players or you know what I mean? Celebrities?
Getting to, I guess, meet Dave from Beast Mode Soccer was really, really cool, just because I know the impact he's made on women's soccer. So I know my love for the women's game is also rooted through him. Watching him support the league makes you want to support the league.
Interesting.
I love his support for female athletes in general. He's very supportive of me, Soccer Girl Probs. He's just about empowering women, and it's awesome. Okay, so shout out to Dave from Beast Mode Soccer, Definitely.
right? Dave Copeland, right?
Yeah, that guy's a man. He's hysterical.
Is he?
Check him out. He's really, really funny.
Okay. Yeah, who like any players that you like, you know, fangirled over or anything like that through your interaction or meeting, local players or abroad? So I got to somewhat meet CBG at an Adidas event 2 years ago. He was really, really nice, super cool guy. So by CVG, you mean who for the audience? Steven Gerarrd. Okay, Stevie G. Steven Gerard. He had just landed in LA, did an Adidas event because they were transitioning out of their old 4 cleats and bringing in the new 2 models that they had. Okay. And the Aces and the X's. Yeah. Wow, that seems like forever ago. Yeah. Okay. So you met him at one of the Adidas events, you're saying? Yeah. Okay. It was where he was a judge? Yeah. Okay. Definitely. Yeah, downtown LA. It was pretty cool. Okay. And you got a picture with him? No, I didn't want to. Like everyone wanted a picture. Yeah. I just wanted to meet him and say hi. So you did meet him though instead. Yeah, it was really, really cool. That was a fangirl moment for you? Definitely. Okay. And what else? So I went to the season ticket member rally for LA Galaxy this season and meeting Giovani dos Santos. I thought it was gonna be really cool about it. Okay. I lit up like a fangirl on the inside. Oh, okay. I don't know what it was. So you've been a fan of Gio then? Oh, definitely. Okay. That goal against Timmy in the Gold Cup final. That one of the greatest moments of my life, honestly. Is it because he plays for like Mexico and then, you know what I mean? Like your household fan, you guys kind of watched him playing? Yeah. Okay. He's legit, right? Always been a name in the house. So it's always tough for me. I mean, my parents are Mexican, both of them are, so I'm full-blown Mexican. And growing up in the U.S., you always had to like wait a second then. So what happens when Mexico plays U.S.? Because you're wearing the U.S. Okay, that's the women's, but still. What happens when Team USA plays against Team Mexico? Who do you guys root for? Is it divided in the household or is it all one way? It's all one way. Oh, okay. And it's not really going the right way right now. I see. Interesting. So okay. So obviously it's your culture and your heritage, right, and all that. Do you think there's any possibility moving forward that they like in the same sense how LAFC was able to win you over? Would Team USA ever be able to win you over, you think? So I will root for you, Team USA, every time single time. Every time they don't play Mexico is what you're gonna say. Every time they don't play Mexico. I know. So what happens when they do? Is there ever a possibility, you think? I don't think so, because that actually just goes back to my heritage and my roots and my family, and it just means a whole lot more to me. You know, it's my blood. Right. But like I said, I will always root for Team USA. A little more now with Bruce Arena. I really wasn't a fan of Klinsmann as a coach, but I definitely will root for the U.S. because that's just it's where I live. It's where So that's still something, right? So anytime they don't play Mexico, you'll still be a fan, right?
Oh, always.
And you'll support
I have
them,
U.S.
right?
jerseys at home.
Yeah.
I'm a fan, definitely. It's just, it becomes a little tougher when you play against Mexico.
Right. Okay. Interesting. All right. So what about on the personal front? So you're going to school, right? You have a boyfriend?
No.
Is there a soccer problem boyfriend?
There isn't.
No? So that's a soccer problem then?
Yeah. So it's fine.
Yeah? Too busy juggling all three of those aspects of school and work and soccer problems, or what?
Kinda. I mean, I've had relationships throughout this whole experience, but I just think that I'm a little too busy. My head is just so focused on going forward that maybe I forget to kind of just stay in the moment and enjoy what's around. I don't know. I'm so dedicated to the game that it kind of makes it hard. I know a lot of male players.
Okay,
and
sounds like almost like the guy, like future Mr. Soccer Problem has to be a soccer fan almost.
Oh yeah.
He has to be?
He has to
What
be.
if you meet Mr. Wonderful tomorrow, but he knows nothing about soccer?
We're not going to talk
Have
about
anything
anything.
in common? But so then maybe you could introduce the sport to him, right? That's how you win fans over, no?
It is, but it'd be really frustrating for me, honestly.
So all of your, boyfriends in the past, they've all been either soccer fans or soccer players?
Every guy I've ever dated
Wow.
has played soccer.
Okay. So guys, take note. You have to be into soccer, right? To have a shot at Briana, right? Pretty much, right?
Basically,
Yeah.
it's a staple. I don't feel like I can really talk about anything else for like a while. Or at first, it plays a huge impact on who I am and whatnot. So if it doesn't reflect you,
if it's not authentic, it's not there. Does he have to actually be a soccer player, or can he just be a fan? Like, what if he's totally not athletic and just but he knows everything about soccer? About the game?
That'll work.
It works.
Yeah, I can teach him how to play.
Okay,
but I don't necessarily.
So it doesn't have to be like a total athlete, soccer player type of guy.
No, he just has to be like very knowledgeable about the game.
Wow,
I need to have those conversations. I need to be able to relate and be able to go watch the games and know why that person. Why they know I'm going for that team or that player, or what frustrates me, or I don't need questions like what's offside. Not offsides. What's offside?
Wow.
There's no S in offsides.
Wow. Okay. Wow. We're on a whole nother level with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right.
It's just one of those things. But I mean, I'm not too worried. I'm 22. I have the rest of my life to find someone who's going to come on this journey with me. Until then, I'm perfectly happy with my friends. I have good people in my life. Yeah. And that's really all I need.
So then interesting. Okay. So let me ask you this. Do you ever get like people hitting you up through social media? Like guys like, Instagramming you, message, DMing you and things like that? Okay. Do they go through Soccer Problems or do they go through your personal account?
Personal account.
Oh, okay. So they find you through Soccer Problems and then they DM you.
I don't want to say that they found me through Soccer Problems. I mean, I've had some like random strangers, but a lot of the guys, I guess, that slide into my DMs are friends of friends. Okay. They see me get retweeted onto their friends' timelines that they follow, and I guess maybe they like my soccer knowledge, and they're like,
that's what they like, your soccer knowledge.
Hey,
on Instagram.
I don't really get a lot of DMs through Instagram because I don't really I'm not the selfie person. I'm more like the look, this is what I'm doing and that kind of stuff. But like on Twitter, it's always just soccer. Yeah. So I do think it's based like some part soccer knowledge, and they're just like, hey, like.
Yeah, guys are thinking, hey, we can like go to games together, and she can be my girl, right? Kind of thing.
She's a season ticket holder. That's free Galaxy games.
Right. Not bad. Okay. What are you looking forward to this year in terms of the soccer world? Then obviously you're like a knowledgeable person about the of soccer in U.S. internationally. How about like what are you really looking forward to in the next 6 months and within 2017 in the soccer world? Are there certain tournaments or games that you really get up for and look forward to, or
Well, Gold Cup obviously in the summer. Confederations Cup is this year, isn't it? No, is it Confederations?
I don't know. I know Gold Cup is for sure.
Gold Cup.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Confederations. Okay. The Women's Euro is going to be interesting, and I hope that I can catch as many games of that as I can. NWSL, it's 5th season. It's record-breaking. It's only getting better. I'm so excited for the league. I'm hoping that more teams come in next year, maybe 1 or 2, and they can make it happen. The collegiate season is always my favorite time of the year.
Really? So you follow the college game?
College soccer.
Okay.
I've gone
women's or men's you're talking about?
Both.
Really?
I mean, more men's side, but I mean, I can watch both. I love doubleheaders. I love the Pac-12 in particular, but I've gone to the Big West final for the men's side since 2011 every year. Okay. So it's a staple. Whatever it is I'm doing, I have to be in town. I have to be able to go to that game. Thankfully, the furthest I've driven for that game was Santa Barbara last year against Cal State Fullerton. That was fun. But I love the collegiate season. It's just my favorite time of the year. There's always games going on, whether it's in person, online. You can always find something, and it's just the most fulfilling thing. August through December, my heart is full.
All right, good. Now, as we wrap up, is there anything with Soccer Problems that you have plans for? Or are you just going to kind of, is anything kind of like next level that you're thinking about? Or are you going to just continue to just hopefully grow the account organically? Any kind of plans with Soccer Problems?
So I want to grow, obviously. My main focus is to grow the game and give back. I feel like there's so many like regions in this world that don't have what I have access to. And as nice as brands are and stores, like, hey, do you want this and this? Like, I don't need any more cleats. I have like 10 pairs of cleats at home. I'm good for the rest of my life.
Okay, good. We're giving you a jersey today, all right? So yeah, not a cleat.
I'll take that. I'll take a jersey. Right. But I want to find a way to give back to the community. I mean, Soccer Problems has given me a lot, and I feel like there needs to be a way for me to give back as well, even though I really haven't monetarily benefited from it. I've had great opportunities. Like my 2 jobs that I've had since high school have been because of Soccer Problems. That's kind of what started me there. So I've met great people. I've had great experiences. I've gotten to do things I never dreamed of doing. Meeting Steven Gerarrd was not in the plan whatsoever. So with all these things, I just want to find a way, whether it's fundraisers, whether it's, drives to somehow give back to the LA community. I want to give back to LA. I want to give back to the world. I think it's something that's very doable. I want to grow the game. I want to convert people to soccer fans.
Sure.
So I think that's the main focus of my account, is to just make it, I guess, something to look for, to understand that the game is growing, to know what's going on in soccer, and my soccer nerds, because it's like a special place in my heart for them. I'm one of them. I want to keep them updated with what's going on in the game, what's going on in MLS. I think that there needs to be a lot more exposure for MLS, even though there's a great ton already. People need to back us up. I understand that the EPL and La Liga, Serie A, they're huge leagues, but you have to support your home.
Local teams, right?
Local soccer is so important, and I think people forget that. So I just want to use Soccer Problems as something that can benefit everyone, whether it's knowledge, whether it's receiving something. I love doing giveaways because it means I get to give back to my followers, and I mean, that's so like rewarding to me.
Right.
So I think that's my main objective with Soccer Problems. YouTube, finding a way to benefit from it and also have my followers benefit from it. I don't like, solely focusing on myself when it comes to the account, because I don't think it's fair. It was never intended to be that, to be something that, oh, you know what, I can make money off this. I can, get all this equipment and all these beautiful merchandise,
right? Free swag from all these brands.
And don't get me wrong, I love going to the events. I love getting jerseys.
Right. Yeah, continue to give that. We don't mind that, but that's not the focus, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can live without it. Is what I'm trying to say. Okay. It's not the biggest thing in the world. Okay. It's definitely, I'm so grateful and appreciative when people reach out and think of me as important enough, or the account important enough to be included into their ideas. But at the end of the day, it's all about giving back for me. It's all about making people inclusive and understanding that soccer is so much more than just a sport.
I see. And if you want to include into the giving and to outside people, and you get all this free swag, large 10.5 shoes, okay?
I'll add that to the list, because I have a list of people who are just like, hey, if you have extra stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, because that happens, guys.
Okay, yeah, just add me to the list then.
I'll keep you in mind.
Okay.
Keep you in mind.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, Briana Aguila from Soccer Problems.
Thank you so much for having me.
For sure.
Honestly.
We'll definitely keep an eye out for you at future events, and perhaps at LAFC or LA Galaxy games. We'll still to be determined, right? We'll see how it happens.
I mean, there is a game tonight.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens. Thank you so much for joining us. Urban Pitch Podcast, a beautiful game of life.